All right, guys. Hope you had a good trading day today. I ended up just taking one trade short at the top of the daily range. Unfortunately, I was a little early, so I took a small loss on that first trade. I lost like 197 bucks. And then as it pushed a little higher, I was pretty sure that I wanted to reinitiate the short. So I went ahead and reinitiated it and made a couple hundred bucks. So I ended up today break even. Um, yeah, just I'm not really feeling like I want to push myself in these particular markets, especially in the Nasdaq and the S&P right this moment this week. And the reason for that is because we've got, you can see the S&P here, and I'll tell you why we're looking at the S&P in a second. You can see here, this is the weekly range right here so far for the S&P. The Nasdaq's the same. I trade much better when the market is volatile. So when we're in these tight ranges, I'm just not really a huge fan of that type of trading. There are people that are very good at that, not me. We've got the neighbors' kids out front screaming. So when you hear kids in the background, it is what it is. They're just having fun outside. So don't worry about it. Um, yeah, so what we're going to try and start doing is I want to put together this evening analysis video for you guys and for myself because the NASDAQ is not the only market that exists. I mean, we all trade it because we love the volatility, but there are a ton of other really good markets out there. And my trading indicators, they're universal. They work on all markets, all time frames. If you want to swing trade, if you want to position trade, long-term investing, you want to day trade, you want to scalp, whatever you want to do, you just set the time frame to what you want and the indicators are there and they work phenomenally well when you know how to use them. So what I want to do, I want to start looking at all the futures markets every night after the close, sort of around this time, depending, because when I'm done trading for the day, I take a walk. When I move down to the beach in Costa Rica, I'm going to be surfing a lot. But I want to do this analysis, upload it to the channel, and just kind of give you guys my sense of what's going on and my favorite market to trade. And then I'm going to start trading my 3XFAs, on the market that I like the most for the next day because I don't want to sit here and, stare at the NASDAQ when I'm not really sure what I think it's going to do. I'd rather take another market like gold or silver or copper or crude oil or whatever if it has a clear pattern. And then I'm just going to run my day trading system on that market that's clear for that day. And that'll be the way I'm going to stream as well. So there's a lot of variety here. There's really no reason for us to, only focus on the NASDAQ. I used to trade, a lot of markets, all these different markets, but since I've been having such good success with the NASDAQ lately, I've been kind of zeroed in on it, but I want to open my horizon again and, look at other markets. So this is the way this is going to work. Yeah, and by the way, I'm super stoked about TradingView and getting the indicators and the charts ready for TradingView. My programmer is going to start working on it within the next couple days. Probably take us a couple weeks to get everything settled, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll on TradingView. We'll get the Discord going. I'm working on the course. It's exciting, but I've started to record the course, but I'm gonna probably restart that when I get the TradingView charts because those would be the charts we're going to be working off of. So I want the course to be recorded on the charts we're going to be using. And then of course with TradingView, I'm pretty sure we can run our automated systems, the algos that I'm working on and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be awesome. And TradingView, I think it's just going to be a lot more universally, um, you know, people will be able to use it. Everybody will be able to use TradingView as opposed to Sierra charts where you have to have a futures broker and you got to have your live account connected. Otherwise, the data fees are outrageous. That's not fun. I didn't really realize that. I've had the Sierra charts account for a while, so I didn't realize you had to have a live brokerage account for that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the analysis. Guys, this is how I always do this: yearly chart, quarterly chart, monthly, weekly, daily. Now, in the course, I'm going to talk and teach about all this kind of stuff. If you want to trade the weekly chart into the monthly and then the quarterly is your higher time period, you can do that. You can trade the daily into the weekly if you just want to put trades on like right now at the reopen and just let it go for 24 hours till the next close. You can do that. There's so many different ways to trade. I mean, I just trade right now. I'm day trading because I have the energy, but at some point, I may just switch back and go, you know what? I'm just going to find my favorite picks at the end of the daily close, put on the trade, and just let it go for the next 23 hours because you can find great moves. I'll give you guys a couple examples of what I'm talking about, and then we'll get into the specific analysis. But let's go to, I think Bonds gave us a pretty good example the other day. Let's go to the Ultra Bond here. So we'll load the Ultra Bond chart. Yeah, so you can see here with the Ultra Bond. So on the weekly, I always like to base my decisions on what I think the higher time periods are doing, but especially the weekly chart. But of course, I'm influenced by the monthly, the quarterly, the yearly. All these things are incredibly important. But in this particular instance, here you guys can see these beautiful, just look guys. Imagine when this week here closes, this is a weekly chart. That pink dot is there. it's there waiting. And look, it just nails resistance. I mean, it's incredible. And then when you start to stack the multiple time period levels on top of each other, use quarterly levels, monthly level. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, anyways, when this weekly bar here closed last week, right? You can clearly see it's one of those situations where we're punching back up. There's going to be a lot of resistance up in here. You're right into this quarterly pocket. You can just see that bonds are weak right now, right? You can see it. It's just a no-brainer, right? So what you want to do then is you want to say like, okay, right here on this particular close, this one, right? This is just a beautiful little, it's a little exhaust, lower volume, popping its head up. You got the beautiful resistance level right there. You're in this pocket. Like these are the kind of trades that I want to look for. So when I see that kind of a close, I'm going to say, hey, look, you know, for tomorrow, bonds are going to be one of my markets that I'm going to focus on for myself and for the live trading when we do that on YouTube and, you know, for the course and all that kind of stuff. I say, okay, bonds, I like the pattern. I like that we've got a lot of resistance here. And I think there's a good possibility we should drive from one side of the envelope down to the other side, right? Well, then we'll have our day trading charts up for bonds and we'll just look for some really good opportunities to go short as long as it's, you know, the thesis is playing out according to what we thought was going to happen. And then we're not just sitting there staring at one market all day. We're like, we got bonds on our radar and there's probably another market that day that was also good. And we're just going to diversify the markets that we're using. I mean, look at this, guys. I mean, this is just incredible. Huge daily exhaust. Look at that. Right to these dots. Perfect. Right to the weekly pink dot right there, right? I mean, on that close, you want to go into the next day going, look, I'm going to look to get long bonds. And so, I mean, you can just get long right here and just let it go for 24 hours if you want. Like, just go out and do your thing. Let your contract go the whole day. I'm going to start doing that. But if you're day trading, you just wait for good opportunities to pull back and buy into good levels. I mean, it's just incredible the opportunities we have here, guys. Like, I you know, check a lot of YouTube channels because I'm curious what other people are doing, and nobody's doing anything like this. I mean, this is just super cool. And look, I didn't just like, you know, pull this out of my ass. This is years and years of like being, you know, one of Charlie Drummond's standout students, market analysts, you know, being really, really, really high level at Drummond Geometry to the point where they wanted to hire me and wanted me to run their channel and their course and do all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, there was something inside of me that knew I could make what Charlie had developed, and I understood it intimately, what Charlie had developed, and I knew I could do more with it and make it better and make it my own. And that's what I've done here with my indicators, and super, super excited about it. Like, they work so well. All right, so let's get into the analysis, and we're going to go through all the markets here. We're not going to waste time. If I see something I don't like, you know, I could spend an hour telling you why I don't like it, but we're not going to do that. I'm just going to give you, we're going to look for my top picks for tomorrow, right? So S&P 500, the ES, right? Tight range, you know, we appear to be squeezing here. To be honest, I don't really have a sense of what this market wants to do. I mean, right now it looks pretty bullish, but you know, we're at this resistance level here on the weekly, the monthly. I don't know, guys. So I say ES for me is not clear. So I don't want to trade a market that's not clear. And the NASDAQ is similar. So when we load the NASDAQ here, I'm pretty sure when I look at this pattern, it's just another one of those days on the NASDAQ for tomorrow where I'm like, you know what? I don't know what this is going to do. I really don't. Like, this could push higher. It could dump. It could be another tight, choppy day. I don't know. So I don't want to trade the NASDAQ, right? Until some volatility starts to pick back up in these markets. We want to find the markets with the volatility and the good patterns, you know, good levels that I identify. Trade those markets that are clear to us, not these markets, because they're not the end all be all, right? Let's go ahead and look at the Dow. The Dow can be fun to trade sometimes. Again, it doesn't matter. I don't have a particular bias. Like, I like the NASDAQ because of the volatility, but any market is good. If you got to read, you can make a lot of money. Doesn't matter what the market is. So here's the Dow. You can see we're also just kind of chopping in this range. Look at this weekly here, right? I mean, just look, and I don't need to go into all my indicators on the markets that aren't clear. I just don't have to do that. One thing that's interesting, look at the quarterly chart here, setting up this flash. You guys know all about the flash pattern. This is super important. There's the flash. Look at these yellow dots coming in here. I mean, we could be setting up for the quarterly resistance, when the new quarter starts, which will be April 1st, right? Because this quarterly bar will close March 31st, the end of the first quarter. And depending where it closes, we could be, ripe for a nice little correction on the Dow, potentially. 45,000 to 41,000, anybody? Maybe. Let's wait and see. But these are the kind of things you can do when you use all the charts. It's really cool. Anyways, for right now, like, do I want to mess with the Dow? No. I mean, just look, it's just getting tighter and tighter here. There's no clear, it's like the S&P and the NASDAQ. Even though we're grinding higher, we're not really going anywhere, right? So no Dow. Let's go ahead and load the Russell. Russell's, pretty similar here. Just stuck in this tight little range. You can see the weekly chart, not doing a whole lot right here in the middle. Here's the Russell daily chart. I mean, I don't have a good read on the Russell, so why do I want to trade the Russell? Let's look at the 10-year Treasury note. Go ahead and load that. Now, same thing. Look at the 10-year. It's just sitting here. I don't know what this is doing. I want markets that, are moving and giving me opportunities, like, on the 10-year, this big exhaust down here for a buy, or it was better on the 30-year because the 30-year in the Ultra Bond, the pink dot held. On the 10-year, it broke. So you take the Ultra Bond in the 30-year because it's a much safer trade. But you want that. You want to buy that, head back up. Here, it's pushing up. You think it's going to go down. You want to short, right? You want something that's moving. You don't want these tight ranges where nothing's happening, right? That's it. If you can identify these types of markets not to trade in, it's going to save you so much money and losses that's going to make a dramatic difference to your bottom line for making money, right? So just knowing when not to trade is so key. That's why I haven't made any money so far this week, but who cares? Like, I'm up huge the last 6 months. I don't need to make money every day or even every week. Like, if I don't like what I'm seeing, I'm not going to trade it. It's so important. Look, the 30-year Treasury also just sitting here doing nothing. Let's go to the Ultra Bond, even though, of course, it'll be the same. Yeah, there you can see Ultra Bond's the same. Now, might these markets all just explode and move tomorrow? Sure, maybe. That's fine. But until they start moving, I don't want to trade them, right? Let's go ahead and look at gold. Yeah, gold's kind of similar. I don't really have an interest in trading gold right now because just look at this range for today right here on the daily, right? I don't know. This might push up. It might go down. I really don't know. But I can tell you this was a great buy on gold. I wasn't watching gold, but this is a great buy. You're in the pocket. Boom. The daily's in congestion here. Right? You're going up, down, up. So that's a great spot. Look to get long. Look, yeah, you broke that one, but this one, the live one, was underneath you. So that's support right at the near low. Now, does it mean it's going to work every time? No. But in this case, the weekly is firing to the upside. This daily pullback was right here to the weekly middle of the moving average envelope near low. I mean, you just got tons of support right there. So these are the kind of trades we want, where everything's just matching up like the gears of a watch that has like the lunar phase and, the date and all that stuff. And think of a really beautiful, amazing watch, like, a Rolex. I know it sounds cliche, but they're really, really well built. And if you have a Rolex, it's, especially you got like the date, the moon phase, or whatever. Like, I used to have a Jaeger-LeCoultre, which is Jaeger-LeCoultre. Those are cool watches, right? I'm not really a watch guy, so I got rid of it. But that had all these like, so imagine the watch maker has to make all those gears line up perfectly, right? Those are the trades that we're looking for. So, that's why I wouldn't trade gold right now. And this could just be one of those weeks where maybe there's not a lot of good opportunities. That's fine. It's good to know it ahead of time, so you're not looking at your trading account balances at the end of the week going, oh man, I got chewed up and spit out this week. Well, how nice to know that ahead of time so you don't have to get chewed up and spit out. So here's silver. I almost said Hills Silver. My speech impediment. No, it's just I'm so tired. But this is fun. I enjoy this so much. All right, so with silver here, it's kind of the same thing. I haven't looked at these in a long time, so I'm just kind of digesting them while I analyze with you guys. I'm coming on just ready to go tell you what I see. So you're in the middle of the zone right here. I asked myself like, okay, well, you got a little bit of a pocket up here, which is good resistance. You've got this yellow dot right at these dots here. That's important. This could go like that. It could, right? But I look at the weekly, I'm like, is this pattern here that I'm seeing on the daily, do I really want to short with what I'm seeing here on the weekly? No, because we're pushing higher for now, right? So I don't want to go long either. I'm just saying, like, you want to take the daily in the direction that you think you had the odds on the weekly and the monthly, right? So that's what I look for. Let's go ahead and look at some copper. All right, here's copper. And again, guys, you can just see so many good opportunities. I mean, look at this extension dot here. That's just there, right? So when that's on the monthly, right? So when the weekly's jumping up here, it's like, where are you going, pal? You got that monthly pink dot right there to deal with at 4.8 right there, right? So then you look for some opportunities on the daily. This is how this works. So right now, I'd look at copper and say, okay, is this a pattern I want to trade? Not really. I mean, it looks weak. It looks certainly like the monthly chart here. If this monthly chart closes right around this level here at the end of the month, we could be setting up for a nice, let's see, move, back down here in the monthly congestion cycling. So we'll have to see about that. Let's go ahead and look at platinum. Wow, super cool. I mean, just look at platinum, like just everything's moving all the time. You can just find really good opportunities. So look at this. This is where I combine my analysis, and I also do scenario analysis, because you start to see patterns that are repeating again and again and again. You say like, oh, I think I saw that situation on another chart. Let me go look. So off the top of my head, do you see this right here? Look at this. You see that pink dot? This is the weekly chart. And remember, this pink dot is here before any of this week happens. It's when this closes, boom, all these dots and levels are locked and loaded, right? So now we've gone straight down to, what I would characterize as a very, very strong support level, right? And that support level is right here, because you have not only that cyan dot right at, that's our congestion support level, the cyan dot, right at you'll see those dots only when you're, when you're in congestion is when they make the most sense, right? So you see that's a support level, at the envelope bottom. And what's the daily doing? Well, the daily's, you guys that have been here, it's giving us a nice little flash. These flashes can be exhausts, right? So, and what do you have? You have these yellow dots. These are good support, right? So what I would say, now I don't know if this is going to bounce, but certainly we're at a decent support level. And back to the scenario analysis I was talking about, I believe it was the bonds that were showing something like this. So let's go look at UB, the ultra bond, and you'll see what I mean. Keep this picture in your mind here for a second, right? And now look at this. So you see here, at one point, this weekly was down here sitting right at these dots, right? The same combination dots that we're looking at right now on platinum. Bonds we're testing there, right? And what were bonds doing right there, right? Well, that was the daily chart on bonds at that exact moment, exhaust down, right? And then boom, pops up off of that weekly support, right? Big volume there. Well, let's go back to platinum. And is this a situation in platinum where we have a good opportunity to, play this market from the long side tomorrow? Well, I would have liked to see bigger volume there, but that doesn't necessarily keep me out of this market. But what I will do is I'm going to put platinum on my watch list for tomorrow, because if it starts to show strength, then it could be one of these situations where it wants to go back up here to, 1010, close to the weekly middle to moving average envelope there, right? Which on the daily is right back up here. So on platinum, will we maybe want to go back up here? And even if it gets shut down, it could make for some good trading, especially if you catch it early, right? Like if you think there's support here, you want to, catch your day trading pattern. You want to pick that up here in support so you can ride it back to where you think it's going to go. You don't want to, like if it goes up and then it's on its way back down, that's when you don't want to take it in that instance, right? So Platinum, we're going to keep an eye on tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen, but at least we've got a good pattern, lightning flash, a potential exhaust, although I'm not nuts about the volume. You've got some support there. You got a lot of support here. You know, could be a good opportunity with platinum. You've also got, you know, gold and silver are still, you know, grinding higher. So platinum is a precious metal. I know it's a little bit different, but, you know, so could be some good support here. Let's keep an eye on platinum tomorrow. Let's look at crude oil. We'll turn our attention to the energy space. Like, guys, here's crude. These are the kind of opportunities we're looking for. Like, look on the quarterly chart here of crude. You're in congestion. Look at that pink dot right up in there, right? Look how the weekly just jumps up there, holds its yellow dot. You're right at the true average. Look at that flash, guys. This is what I'm talking about. Now, do these flashes mean something? Oh boy, they sure do. That's an exhaust, right? But where is that weekly exhaust happening? Right into that quarterly extension. It's just beautiful. So then you say, okay, you going into that week, you look at that and you say, well, hey, if the daily, you know, gives me a little bit of a pump up into that 78 level, let's go back over there. You know, I want to short that. Well, that's looking pretty freaking beautiful, guys. I get so excited. I'm really excited to start tracking all these markets together, because it's like the opportunity when you're working with these higher time period charts, and you know you're working off of a quarterly, weekly exhaust, and then the daily does something like this, rifles up here, right? Look, see how the volume's a little bigger than the day before? That's what I like to see on these type of patterns. On platinum, we didn't have that. That's why I was a little, you know, iffy on platinum, but we're still going to watch it. But look at that pink dot right there. Tested during the day, holds on close. Now you just know, okay, that's a daily exhaust pattern into the extension resistance dot. You already know that you started the week looking for weekly resistance into that level at the true average. You're right at the quarterly extension dot right there. Quarterly's in congestion, monthly's in congestion. And therefore, if the quarterly and the monthly are in congestion, you know, up, down, and now the weekly is like, oh, we're going to get into a trend run up and we're going to keep going. No, we're not. This is what's sucking everybody else in. And then the daily just gives us, this is perfect. So these are the types of plays we're looking for, because what we can do, if we know we're coming out of all that quarterly, monthly, weekly resistance energy, we turn our attention to day trading. Even we can put on a swing trade on our personal accounts, right? Not the prop accounts, because you can't hold overnight. But you start looking to short pops all day on crude. You just ride this baby down and you just look for trade after trade after trade. Imagine knowing not to play the long side, and you can let your shorts run a little bit because you're coming out of all this unwinding from this resistance. I mean, it's incredible. Super excited about it. And this is what we're going to, like, I'm going to get back into the flow of following all this market. So we will catch these moves in real time before they happen, right? Right now, I'm just kind of getting back into looking at all these markets because I've been so dialed in on the NASDAQ. All right. So, you know, looking at crude right here, I would say, you know, you got a little flash there, you see? That's not bad. But here's the thing, guys. You don't want to mess, if a trade is just not looking, you know, pretty perfect, pretty good, if there's anything wrong with it, just don't take it. Now, you guys tell me, what's wrong with this trade? Well, all my dots and stuff, right? If the dots are below you, they're support, right? If the dots are above you, they're resistance. So sure, you got the pink dot there, resistance. You know, this is resistance out here. But look where this bar closed today. You see, this is today's daily bar, right? It closed here above all of this. This was resistance all day. It got broken. And so the daily stayed above there and closed above there. So then when you look at this flash pattern and you close below the true average and you say, oh, wow, that looks like a tempting short on crude. No, because you're breaking all those dots. You broke all that resistance today. What happens when you break resistance? It becomes support, right? So yeah, you got a little pattern there that I like. And if it looked a little better, I could be interested in a short for crude. And it doesn't mean it's not going to go down. It just means I'm not going to be trading it, right? Because you know how much money you can make if you just find one or two markets a month and get into the flow with those markets. I mean, it's just, it's pretty insane. And it's exciting. All right, we're going to load the, I'll pause while we load these charts. This is going to be the RBOB gasoline in the energy sector. Look, I immediately know that I don't want to trade RBOB, right? For the same reasons I don't want to trade the indices tomorrow. or the bonds, right? We're in the middle of this tight daily range. We're in the middle of this weekly range. When you use like my charts and my indicators that clearly show you, hey, this is not a good place to take any risk. It's great. Save yourself some time and money. Let's go look at heating oil. Then we'll look at natural gas. Natural gas has been on fire. All right, so looking at heating oil here, this is just, I don't really see anything I like for right now because we're in this range. I'm looking for markets that have moved, they're out of whack, they've gone too far up and they need to come back down. I want to short. They've gone too far down, they need to come back up. I want a long. That's what I absolutely love to trade. There are many different ways to use my indicators, and for those of you eventually when you start taking the course, and you can replay these charts and you can find your own sweet spot. But for me, this is my sweet spot. This is how I like to use my stuff. So just another example, even though I don't want to trade anything on heating oil, just look here at this quarterly. Remember, at the end of the year, remember, this is the yearly chart. This is the quarterly chart. So December 31st, here's your close for the year for heating oil right there, right? So when that closes, all these dots are locked. All these lines, this pocket is locked, right? So when you get up to that extension resistance level there, you got the congestion. I mean, this is beautiful. 2.5 up there, right? So when you see the daily, let's see, when did it get up there? I mean, that's beautiful. Guys, look, what do you see? Flash. Doo, doo. Yeah, you did close above that, level there. That's true. But that size flash tagging the extension there and then closing down, and the kicker, volume. You see how the volume is high right there? I like that because that means a lot of people are going to be stuck and this thing could go down. But the key is, where is that happening? It's happening right into that quarterly key level. So these are the moves we want, because if you see volatility like that, there's probably going to be volatility the next day, and that's the volatility we can capitalize. You see how the big up day leads to the big down day right after it? You see how the big up day leads to the big down day? Like, we want volatility, right? This kind of shit here, we don't want to participate in that because it's just a market that could do anything. And like, we're not here to gamble. We're here to pick our spots. Let's look at natural gas. All right, guys. So natural gas, I mean, look, this is pretty interesting. The daily, I mean, everything's just rocketing to the upside, but still, things don't just go straight up forever, right? So just pushing big. I mean, you've got a pretty massive extended flash here, right? But look, the daily closed underneath its extension. You got the live resistance here, the yellow dot right at the near high. You got resistance there. And where are we? Well, we're getting very close to the weekly extension right there, 4.3. So, this is one I'll watch tomorrow for sure. I'll have the day trading chart set up for this. And I'll say, hey, look, if I get a really good pattern on my intraday natural gas charts that tells me that this resistance level is strong, then I may want to short natural gas for a move like that, right? And you can see on this potential exhaust right there. And by the way, I don't only take exhaust. We'll take some really good moves with the trend. We got a playbook for every kind of market, right? So when I see things, this is how I'm going to teach you and explain to you. But what I'm seeing right here, exhausts are typically my favorite. Look at the volume there. That's nice. It's slightly bigger. Could be, some enthusiastic longs that are a little too enthusiastic about it. So I'd be looking to short natural gas up here. So far, potentially longing platinum. But again, we're not just going blind. We're going to look at the intraday charts during the New York session and see if our thesis here from the higher time period is correct. If it's correct, then we can look for good opportunities on our intraday charts. So for platinum, potentially long, and natural gas, potentially short. And for everything else, nothing, because everything else looks shitty, right? All right, I'm going to go through the currencies now. I'm not going to bore you with the currencies, but we will look at them. I'm just going to quickly flip through them while I pause the recording. So if I see anything I like and I want to explain, then I'll bring it up, right? Other than that, then we'll get to the grains. We'll look at corn, wheat, soybeans, soybean meal, soybean oil. We'll look at lean hogs, cattle, and I guess at some point we'll get Bitcoin up here too. Why not? Just, I don't know, not right now. I don't have it on my list. All right, let me check the currencies real quick. All right, guys, there's nothing in the currencies, so I don't want to bore you with that. We're looking at corn here. Something interesting you can see on the quarterly, we're right at the extension inside this big pocket here, right? So there's some serious resistance right here on corn for sure. The monthly, I mean, we're firing to the upside, but technically our extension pink dot held there on close. So now we're pushing higher. You can see we stopped right at the near high. Remember, that's there before the month starts. You also got these live yellow dots out here. These are still calculating, but they're very important. And now you can see the weekly here is starting to respect that level. So I don't like, this is not really a pattern that I'll take on the daily, but we're going to have to keep an eye on corn because we could be at a, decent resistance level that if we see a good daily pattern to short in the next few days, could be good opportunities in corn. At the same time, if we just kept going through this resistance level, that's also equally super important to know because, like, wow, it's breaking a super strong resistance level. So I'm not going to do anything with corn right now, but it's good to know where we're at. And by the way, as I start to get in sync with all these markets again, we're going to be on top of the ball, like not missing anything. It's not like we're going to look back and go, oh, gee, we should have taken that. No, we're going to take what we need to take in real time. Let's look at wheat. You can see, guys, I'm just flipping through. I looked at wheat. There was nothing really worth talking about. So now I'm loading soybeans. And we'll see if there's anything interesting on soybeans. I can see the daily. We're in the middle of the range. You already know you don't want to trade soybeans. So we'll leave that alone. And then we will go and look at soybean meal and then soybean oil. So I'll let these load. So yeah, check this out. You can see soybean meal is just here in the middle, not really doing much, right? So we don't want to mess with that. Let's go ahead and look at soybean oil, and then we'll wrap it up with lean hogs and live cattle. I believe I have on my scoreboard over here. See, we got the scoreboard. I think that's lean hogs. I think could be the cattle. I haven't traded these markets in a long time, you guys, but we'll see. And Sierra charts, I'm excited to test TradingView because Sierra charts, I mean, it's a lot of data to crunch, especially with my indicators. I get that. The formulas are pretty intense. So I got to give it some slack. Like it's crunching a lot of volume data and all this kind of stuff. But I'm hoping TradingView might let me load all these charts a little faster. Look, it's not a big deal. It's a small price to pay for the kind of money we make. But if they could load a little faster, it'd be nice. All right, look, I don't really want to participate in that. So let's go ahead and look at, I think this is live cattle. Let's see. And then hogs might be the next one. We'll see. I don't know. You guys tell me. It doesn't really matter. It's a price chart. And if I can trade it and make money, I will. I haven't traded the meats in a long time. Never really traded them that actively, but I have on my own accounts back in the day. I've traded some meat contracts. And hey, I mean, they give great opportunities. Look at that right there. Bang. Huge exhaust. Bang. Just looking for these markets to get out of whack. Would I trade this here? Nah, we're kind of trending down on the daily. True. But we're here in all this weekly support, monthly support. I don't know. Like, these are the trades you want. Overextended, like, got to come back down to earth. Easy money. Let's wrap it up with the hogs. And then I will add Bitcoin, Ethereum. I don't think we can trade those with the prop firms, right? Or if we can, we don't get that many contracts because they're so volatile. But we'll start following Bitcoin at least for sure. Maybe Ethereum as well. And then we'll do a summary here just quickly before we sign off. I'm getting pretty tired. I got to relax. This is, I guess this is probably hogs. That's a pretty big exhaust to the downside right there. Big volume. So, and we're in this weekly support area, but I look at this, I go, well, would I want to buy that? I mean, look, it might go back up. This could be an exhaust reversal up, big volume, but we broke all these pink dots. We don't want to break those. Those are support. They shouldn't break. The yellow dots above us. And look, not to say this can't go higher. It could, but is everything there looking good? No. So do I want to mess with it? No. I only have so much time, so much brain power. So guys, my top picks for the next 24 hours, I definitely like natural gas the most. And now, does this mean that natural gas is going to collapse overnight? Of course not. This just means, based on my indicators and what I'm seeing, there's a lot of resistance in natural gas, and I'm curious to see if it starts to respect that resistance on the weekly chart, the monthly chart, if the daily is exhausting and we're due for a nice pullback, then I'm going to use my intraday charts to look to short natural gas. Now, if natural gas just opens and just keeps trending up on the intraday chart, is the intraday chart telling me that that higher time period resistance is valid? No, the intraday chart is saying, hey, don't trade short because it's not respecting that higher time period resistance level, right? So we want to make sure that we come in with our picks, but then we let the intraday charts tell us, if it's respecting the levels that we think it should be respecting. That's the key. So now I'm clicking on natural gas, but it's spinning, you see, like this. So I'll pause it while it spins. All right, guys, so check this out. I'm going to leave you with this, but here's natural gas. It just took forever to load. But we already went through why we like this, so go back in the video and watch that. But I'm really interested in nailing that pink dot to the wall, right, on the weekly chart here. Because this market's strong. There's no reason it won't want to go up there. That's 4.322, just above the high there on the daily. You can see that's what I'm going to be looking for, right? So what am I doing? I set up my natural gas intraday charts here, the volume-based intraday charts for natural gas. I don't have the exact numbers, but maybe this should be closer to about 3,000. So let's go here. Maybe even 5,000. That looked pretty intense. Let's see how 5,000 looks. It's still a bit too much. Let's go to 10,000. I'll tell you guys how I set these exact numbers when we do the course and all that stuff. That's looking a little better right there. So then we'll make this 2,000 because I always like it 1/5 of the higher time period. All right, so you can see it's already respecting the resistance here, right? And are we going to get to that 4.322 level? I don't know, but that's the level I want. That's the level I'm interested in. So I'm going to be watching natural gas now before I go to bed. I might miss it overnight. I haven't developed my algos yet to pick this off, but let's say we get something like this and I see some good confirmation, lower time period. That's where I take a low risk short for a move back down like that in natural gas. So that's what I'm gonna be looking for. I'll also set up the platinum chart. I don't have time to do that right now. I'm pretty tired, but this is how we're gonna do it, guys, moving forward. Super excited. Just pumped, because I've been in Europe now for a while traveling, and right now where I was in Europe, this would be like 3 in the morning. I just couldn't do this, but now I can do it. So I can get back in the flow of doing the end of day analysis, and we're just going to kill it, guys. So welcome to, a channel that I think has the chance to change your guys' lives. And I hope it does. And I do believe what goes around comes around, and try and help people and spread good things. Good things happen to you. And it's like mutually beneficial for everybody, So anyways, hope you guys are enjoying the channel. One of my subscribers with Jay Shaw, I think, suggested I ask you to like, subscribe, all that good kind of stuff. I'm not good at, I always forget, but like, subscribe, leave your questions in the comment section, and we're going to rock and roll. All right. Take care, everybody.